All right, welcome back, everyone. Today on Unsecurity, we have a, a new Meet the Mentor. We did the Meet the Mentor last year with the instructors for the CISSP class, and uh, we got a couple of new guys this year helping out. So welcome, John. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So we typically start this with kind of what are you doing for fun outside of work? So I'll start with Megan. What do you do for fun outside of work? What hobbies are you working on? What projects? What do you got going on, Megan?
I think the big one for me this week is that my kids and I had another Taekwondo belt test, and my son is one half rank away from black belt, so that's his very next stage. So that's a big deal, and I'm kind of just behind him, and I'll put mine off just a little bit so I can test with my daughter. But he started about 2 years before my daughter and I did as a little tiny tiger, they call him. Uh, yeah, even or right around the time of kindergarten, actually, I was going through the pictures. It's like, yep, it's been that long. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think that's the main thing for me, kind of all taekwondo on the brain.
Yeah. I mean, I've still got my Millennium Falcon. It's right here, actually. I have to show it off. I don't think I've showed it on there, but I was working on it. It
Yeah.
is not small, but it's very cool because this just snaps off, and then you can get to the battery. It's all magnetic.
Oh, that's sweet.
So there's a bunch of stuff that you can do that it's going to have like you can have it open or closed or so you can see the inside or not. And so yeah, that's what I've been doing. How about you, John? What do you do for fun outside of work?
Um, Read, ride my bicycle, my motorcycle, play my guitar, um, plot plans for world domination.
That's
Just
I'm gonna
simple stuff.
use my Falcon to do that there, even though it doesn't actually fly, but still.
I'm sure you can modify that
Uh,
and figure
uh, you know, after all the work I've done on it, I don't think I want to take the risk of modifying it.
or crashing it.
Yeah, yeah, poorly modifying it is not a good option.
Yeah.
Unplanned modification. Um, so John, I mean, so this is your first year teaching. Give like, why did you reach out? What's your history? Kind of give us a little bit of background of you and how you got to where we're at right now, where you're helping teach this class.
Absolutely. Again, thank you so much for having me here today. I kind of stumbled into the IT world. I joined the Air Force, enlisted back in 1999. I was a jet engine mechanic. It was interesting that I became a mechanic because mechanical was my lowest score on the ASVAB, the Armed Surface Vocational Aptitude Battery. But the Air Force needs come first, and I did that for 59 months. I had an opportunity to cross train, and I chose IT. And it was completely over my head when we went through our technical training. Everybody in the class was, uber nerds talking about WoW and C Sharp and, Dungeons and Dragons, things that I just had no experience about, but they somehow left the door open and gave me an opportunity. And I slowly realized that I am too a nerd. Um, growing up in the 80s and 90s, being a nerd was not cool, and now nerds run the world. So it's an elite club that I'm proud to be a member of. When I cross trained, I was a computer systems operator and communication squadron. Worked in various areas: asset management, information protection. Worked on the help desk for a while. That was a lot of fun. We could remote into people's machines and fix their problems. That was really fun. And then again, got kind of pushed into cybersecurity. Didn't really want to do it, but again, Air Force of the needs of the Air Force come first. I got my bachelor's degree in cybersecurity through the University of Maryland University College online. Got my Security Plus, got my CISSP last year. I sat through two of the FRSecure mentor programs, which was instrumental and just helping me absorb the concepts and picture them and hear different people's experiences. Evan Francine, he kind of just inspired me with he wanted to fix a broken industry. Cybersecurity it's everywhere around us. You people don't even think about how pervasive it is and all the things that we touch every day, and even the things that we don't touch, but keep us, going, keep our lights going, our water running, all these various different things. So that's a little bit about me. After I retired in 2019 from the Air Force, I continued in cybersecurity because the pay is great. I never imagined a poor kid like me from the DMV, which is DC, Maryland, Virginia area, would be making this kind of money and having the impact that I do. So I enjoy what I do. And that's a little bit about me.
Nice. Now, being a fellow DMV native, I got to ask, how happy are you that Snyder finally sold the Commanders and we have a legitimate owner now?
I do not recognize the Commanders. They'll always be the Redskins to me.
I mean, yeah, I'm with you. But at least we got a good owner now.
Yes,
There's
sir.
a lot of years of frustration there.
And that new stadium, they're rebuilding it back on RFK.
I know. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. I can't wait to get out there.
Tangent alert. Sorry, Megan.
I didn't grow up in that area, and I don't do sports, so it's just like, whoop.
No. I guess, so appreciate the background. Why did you decide you wanted to help teach? Like, what was the, your thought process? Where did you come from to make that decision?
So I've always been a big proponent of sharing information. If I know something and it might be able to help someone else, I look for opportunities to share that information. And, once I got into the CISSP, I realized that my studying and learning was not done once I got that certification. It's you develop a small kind of, understanding of the topics and the knowledge, and you got to just keep growing upon that, So if I have the opportunity to explain it to someone else, that helps me better understand it. And I just also, I can't, just being candid, there's CPEs involved with, when you go to teach, and, those 3-year CPEs, man, that's a lot. So this is an opportunity for me to kill multiple birds with a single stone.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to get the CPEs. Although with doing the podcast and everything, I think I've already hit my 3-year CPE, and I just renewed it in like September.
Not bad.
So, but you still got to do 30 a year, right? So,
yeah.
Megan, I don't know if you had a question. I don't want to take up all the questions.
No, yeah, say nothing specific. Just so you wanted to kind of give back and participate in or offered to become a teacher. What was that kind of like, reaching out to the team and even collaborating this year? What's the experience been like for you so far?
Experience has been great. The team has welcomed me in. I emailed a couple times, got an email. So Evan's just so busy, kind of last minute, like, hey, if you're still interested, heck yeah, I'm interested, man. And I get to just collaborate with this great group. We did the session last night with Brad and with Ron, and I feel like a student in the class, learning from these guys because they have, more experience than I do in this career field. And so, yeah, it's been great so far.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it's just amazing how much that program has grown and expanded, and it's touched a lot of people's lives, and a lot of people have taken advantage of it, maybe completed it partway the first time, more completely the next time. It definitely made a big difference for me as well. And
you were in the 2017 class?
No, yeah, I was in 23 and 24.
23. I'm sorry, Megan.
Yeah. I was in the 2017 class when it was kind of hybrids. Some sessions were in person, you had the option for all of them to be in person.
Yeah, so I think I started in July of 16. So yeah, that April of 17 was the first one I was part of. Yeah. I don't know about, have you actually done a class yet, or you've just been doing the live sessions, right, so far?
Yeah, I haven't done a session yet. I'm doing session 8, chapters 12 and 13, secure communications and network attacks, and managing identity and authentication. It'll be the live mentor session will be on the 11th of June.
I know that first year I did it, and it was like, you want to lead some classes? I'm like, no. I'll help out with the online stuff and make sure we keep track of that and that everybody's questions get answered. But I was definitely not feeling. It was very intimidated with having Evan there. So, but I helped out quite a bit with the class, and then the next year, this is my 8th year doing it. So you're stuck for a while.
I'm happy to be here. I like a good challenge, putting my slides together, going through the book, using the wonderful gift of AI, to help me, reframe these things and the key topics and takeaways and things, because it's just a cornucopia of information, and that book alone, and it's not the only book, that people should expose themselves to. So yeah, I'm definitely feeling the pressures of, putting the presentation together, wanting to hit the important things that I remember. It is definitely a task, but like I said, I always have enjoyed a challenge. It's the reason why I joined the military. I stayed in for 20 years. I'm a father of 6, been married for over 22 years. So I seem to kind of just seek out challenges everywhere in the world.
Nice. That's great. Yeah. Megan, I don't know if we've told you, we're estimating at this point it's taking about 15 to 20 hours just to build the slide deck.
Okay.
For each class.
Like for each class, yeah, that's a lot. That's a huge commitment. Plus, that's why I haven't gotten involved yet. It always interests me. I would definitely like to be a presenter someday, but kind of waiting for the kids to get a little older so that I actually have some free time in the evening, and my husband wouldn't be like strangling me because I said I had a commitment.
Yeah, that was definitely, there was a lot of gifts involved when I first started because our kids were much younger. So.
Yeah, it would take a lot of sweet talking, I think.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, I volunteered to do this for 2 nights a week, 2 hours a night for, it basically 2 months a year.
Right.
Okay, bye.
See you in a few months. Yeah. Well, now it seems like the commitment's a little different, right? Because you don't need to be on every single session. So that's definitely helpful.
I like this so far this year. Going pre-recording, it takes a lot of the pressure off. And then that live session, it's, I only have 2 sessions that I'm teaching this year, which is way better than 14 sessions that we used to do. And we'll still do, I think, 1 or 2 where we'll have all the instructors on towards the end to do practice tests and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a lot less stressful this time.
Yeah.
And it's only 1 class a week, so it's a lot less of a lot less pressure.
Mm-hmm. So, John, you said you took the CISSP after the couple times that you took the mentorship class yourself. What was your experience like, or how did you prepare for the exam? What kind of helped you the most?
So when I retired in 2019, they had this great program through Syracuse where I sat through a virtual boot camp, and I took the test and I failed. And, it was on myself, I didn't put enough into it. I didn't, expose myself enough and be diligent enough and disciplined about studying the information, immersing myself in it. So I got the opportunity to go through an additional boot camp because I needed it for my job. Kind of came up out of nowhere that, hey, you need this IAM 3 level cert, level 3 cert. So took the boot camp, studied for about 7 months, a lot of practice tests. I took it to a company called Training Camp. They gave us a test bank of questions, and I just drilled those. I had a Word document up on any topic that I wasn't aware of. I would go and I would research that. I used Kelly Handerhan. I used there's a Thor guy. I can't think of it. It's like Thor Teaches or something like that on YouTube. I tried to grab information from every place that I could. I listened to the recordings multiple times from the FRSecure because it's like watching a movie again. You always just kind of pick up something, or the pieces just kind of come together like, oh, wow, that makes a little more sense now. So I read the book. practice tests, videos, because I did not want to take that test again. It was such a challenging test. I would get discouraged where I would just do 10 or 15 questions at a time, and then I realized I'm not making sure I have the stamina to be able to sit down, have the mental fortitude and focus, where you could have, I believe it's up to 175 questions.
Yeah, and up to 3 hours, is it?
I think it's 4 hours.
Or maybe
You guys
4.
had it lucky, man. I had 250 questions.
Yeah.
I had to get through all of them.
The adaptive had like just gone into place the year before or something that I took it, so that was nice.
That was a nightmare. It was like 4.5 hours sitting in front of a computer answering questions.
Wondering if you're passing or not. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
all the little requirements, to make sure you're not cheating, take everything out of your pockets, that take my glasses off, they put them on a turntable, and as I kind of like relied on Reddit because I love Reddit, how real people, seemingly real people, will go out there and post their experiences on, how they studied and things that they experienced, and they said you had to give about 2 to 3 minutes per question. Mm-hmm. And the way that my mind works, sometimes I'd have to read a question 6, 7, 8 times. Like, what the heck are they talking about here? And, when I was getting down to the wire, I'm like, man, I'm going to run out of time because I was over, I think I was over like 150 or 125. I can't even remember now. But I'm looking at the time. I'm like, I'm not going to have enough time. And then it just stopped. I'm like, what's going on? Did I pass or not? And I go out of the room, had to give him my ID again, as if somehow I switched places with someone in between getting up from the computer to get my test score. And gosh, just a incredible weight was lifted off of my shoulders. I celebrated as quietly as I possibly could once I found out I passed. And gosh, like I said, I realized that the journey has only started here. Mm-hmm. I had my sights set on, applying to be a mentor. I'm glad that I was selected. And, I'm hoping that people are getting, that I'm contributing positively to the program, that I'm helping people understand the information better. And, I try to leave the world a better place than where I came. And you got to start small. You start with yourself and in your own community and the areas and groups that you belong to.
Yeah. What you said earlier really resonated with me. It's like giving somebody a chance that help that I didn't have. So if I can help someone else with just some little bit of knowledge that was, blood, sweat, and tears learned and prevent them from having it. Yeah, that's the whole point.
Yeah, and something that Evan talked about, how I have a background that maybe not a lot of people have, that are in cybersecurity. Growing up underprivileged and very poor schools, and I didn't believe that I'd live past the age of 18. I enlisted at 19, and gosh, the Air Force it opened my eyes to what's possible. What things I could do, where I could go. I never imagined that I would hold 3 associate's degrees, a bachelor's degree, 2 cybersecurity certifications, with CISSP being the gold standard. I suffered from imposter syndrome a lot, always wondering, like, at any moment they're going to come in here and be like, hey, man, we figured it out. The jig is up. Pack your bags. We gotta go. But once I passed that test, it negated and it didn't support the evidence for that. Like, hey, you actually belong here. You've earned it. You put in the work, but you have to continue to earn it. Like being a parent, sometimes I think that I deserve certain, leverage with my children, but I have to continue to earn it. Being a parent is an incredibly challenging job, but it's also very rewarding. To watch little yous walk around and they exhibit your personalities, and you're like, dang, they picked that bad habit up from me.
Yeah. Like, do I sound like that?
So, totally changing this. I just thought of this when you were mentioning the Air Force. What was your favorite post or deployment, like, location?
So it'll be a cross between Kadena Air Base in Okinawa, Japan, and Nellis Air Force Base in Las Vegas, Nevada, which were my two first assignments. Being from the East Coast, I was a mama's boy, didn't want to go far from home. I put down all East Coast bases, and the Air Force said, we're going to send you as far east as we can, Okinawa, Japan.
They misinterpreted that. Yeah.
Which is like the Hawaii of Japan. Humid, warm all year round, never gets cold. Such an amazing culture. Very, very nice, polite people. Streets are super clean. The cops don't even carry guns. It was such a unique place. And they have the best curry in the world, Coco's Curry. Oh my gosh. If you ever get a chance to try Coco's Curry, they have a couple of places in America. I believe one's in California. Yeah, it's amazing. And so I loved being there, the culture, the food, the people. And then Nellis Air Force Base, that was my last base as a jet engine mechanic. I worked on F-15 and F-16 engines, Pratt & Whitney 200s and 229s, which I know means nothing to you guys, but there's General Electric engines, there's Pratt & Whitney engines, there's all these, a couple of different government contractors that provide engines. But there I got to be in a movie called Operation Red Flag for about 5 seconds. That movie plays down at the National Museum of the United States Air Force. I like to tell people I'm a movie star. I've been in one movie. That's awesome. And I got to participate in this training exercise where they dropped us off in the bomb dump with a SEER, which stands for Survival, Evasion, Rescue, and Escape Specialist. And he's coordinating with the F-15s on these two-way radios. They triangulate our conditions. Our position. They transmit this to the Black Hawk, and this Black Hawk comes down to pick us up. I mean, it's pitch black. You can't see more than 3 feet in front of you out there. No light pollution. And when that Black Hawk came down, and there was this static around the blades because the air is so dry there, man, it was such an amazing experience, to be in the Black Hawk, to watch it in flight refuel with night vision goggles. I mean, the Air Force, it changed my life. I would do it time and time again. The only thing I would do differently is go to college first and become an officer. Just because, the NCOs are the nuts and the bolts. The airmen, the enlisted force, they're the people that keep the Air Force running and do everything. And I love being enlisted. But it would have been nice to have been an officer and have a bigger retirement. and also, lead hundreds, if not even thousands of people. But like I said, I'm still happy and grateful for the time that I served in the military.
Very cool. Yeah, my grandfather was a colonel in the Marine Corps, and we were talking in high school, and I'd just gotten the ASVAB back and was showing him that, and he's like, that's great. If you try to enlist in the Marines, you will not make it into the office. I will make sure you stop. If you go in as an officer, I will support you. I was like, loud and clear. Like, I get it.
I was the first Air Force. I was the first airman in my family. Everyone else was Navy and Army, and I was going into the Navy until some guy pulled my coattails. Like, dude, you're going to hate it. You're going to float. It'll suck. Join the Air Force. It's much better. And I just I conducted this this kind of unofficial census. I just talked to people. Over the course of like 2 or 3 years, I talked to maybe 100 or 200 people. 100% of people, everybody said join the Air Force. I mean, enlisted officer, still in, separated. And I was like, well, it's kind of undeniable. And I'm glad that I joined the Air Force. It was very conducive to family life, having 6 kids. My wife was stayed home and took care of the kids because, well, you just can't afford health care or child care for that many kids.
Yeah.
It was a great time. It really, truly was.
Cool.
Awesome. I can't see the time, but do you have after the CISSP mentorship program, or besides what you're doing for your work, do you have any plans for kind of what's next for you?
My plans is to just continue to develop my skills. I'm currently an ISSM, Information System Security Manager, on weapons system trainers, and I feel like I'm always learning something new every day. So just continue to build my knowledge there. I got a unicycle that I'm trying to learn how to ride now, which is kind of funny. I just like to pick up things and try them out, figure out ways to get myself to financial independence. Because, working is great, having a purpose and, being able to provide for my family. But, I don't want to wait until I'm 70 years old to try to start traveling the world. There's just so much of the world to see, so many places that I haven't been that I want to go. So just trying to figure that out. I'm not really sure exactly how it's going to happen, but I put it out in the universe. I think and reflect on it often, and I'm going to persist in that reality or that belief until it becomes my reality.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Yeah, I definitely believe in like making the goals, because how are you going to get there otherwise, right?
Yeah.
That's right. And then also giving myself kindness and grace that, just because I aim for the stars and I land at the clouds doesn't mean that I failed.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I like it. So we are coming up on about time. So we always like to end with a shout out. So some sort of gratitude to somebody, a team, people, group, whatever it is. I'll have Megan go first. Give
I should
John
have been
a little bit of
prepared.
a chance to think about it.
Yeah. Trying to think who I haven't thanked. I don't know. I'll just thank my team managers again. Say Brad was in the meetings with us, but it's been such an awesome, I think, experience and learning experience. We kind of grew our management team on our consulting team at FRSecure last year, and we kind of all dove in, and there was so much change. It was just absolute chaos all year long. And this year we're still pretty chaotic, and everybody's really busy, and it's hard to find time to meet together and really work on more of those strategic things. But we've been making time to do that and having some really awesome conversations. And I think just discovering a lot about working effectively together, leading this team together, how we coordinate, and just the challenges that we have of being a larger management team and being a larger team in general. So I'm really grateful to all the support and conversations that we had and continue to have.
That was really good, very productive. All right, John, what you got?
I want to thank two groups. I want to thank the team at FRSecure and the cohort of instructors, for this. Outside of this, our career field, it may be a thankless job, but putting that good out in the world and helping people, doing something completely free that benefits people so that they can grasp, high level concepts that will improve, their lives and their contributions that they make to cybersecurity. And then the second group of people is I like to thank the uniformed service members, the civilians, and contractors that support this, United States government in every way. They're right now. We're in unprecedented times with things happening, lots of changes and shifting, and it's kind of one of the only things you can count on in life is change. But I want to thank those people for what they do and to help secure our way of life and freedom.
Yes, you're good. I'll give you kind of two. John, I'm gonna give you a shout out for helping teach this year because it made my life easier. So I'm all about that. So thank you. And I'll give a shout out to the group I did the boot camp for last week for staying awake the entire week and staying positive. They had some good challenging questions, and we had some good theoretical discussions and philosophical type discussions about, okay, I get that's where you're seeing in the world, but that's not what we need to know for the exam. And kind of having those discussions. But no, it was a lot of fun last week, and I thank them for having me out to do that. So with that, we'll wrap up. Megan, you got anything you want to make sure that the listeners know about?
I think we're still figuring out next episode, so I can't share about that yet, but definitely reach out to us at Unsecurity at FRSecure.com, or look on the website for the form to complete and submit feedback, or if you want to join us on the podcast here as a speaker, we'd love to have you. Just always looking for feedback and to keep this podcast going and growing, and making it also a force for positive influence on the industry and anyone looking to get into the industry as well. And I think that's it.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Megan. Thank you, John. And thank you, listeners. We will talk to you next time.
Thank you.